Welcome back. You're watching Young Turks, India's longest-running show on startups. Now, India's startup industry isn't just about warring e-commerce firms backed by global venture capital and huge content libraries. Entrepreneurs are now fighting it out on a new battlefield, digital music. Following the first annual Audio On Summit in Mumbai, we caught up with our young Turk Vinodh Bhat, the co-founder of Saavn, one of the more prominent players in the digital music industry, to find out how he plans to expand beyond music-only content. Here's a slice of that conversation.
Co-founded by Vinodh Bhat in 2007, Saavn started as a B2B distribution network and partnered with platforms like iTunes, Rhapsody, Spotify, Amazon and YouTube, among others. In 2010, the startup decided to hit out on its own and became one of the first companies to bring Indian music to digital space. Saavn's unique combination of internet radio and on-demand music capabilities, coupled with proprietary social features like music tagging and music chat, deliver one of the richest media experiences available on mobile and web today. Currently accessed in more than 150 countries and offering over 20 million tracks in 11 languages, the venture has 900 plus label partnerships. Saavn currently sees 18 million monthly active users globally, with around 14.4 million in India. The platform also boasts of an average session time of 44 minutes per user.
We're not trying to be all things to all people. A lot of the other competitors have a music service as one of 25 other things that they do, right? They also don't necessarily have a Silicon Valley mindset. What I mean by that, Silicon Valley is not necessarily, it's a place, but it's also a way of thinking, right? About being very focused on product and hardcore engineering and about experience, right? And we don't outsource any of our technology. Everything is in-house because that experience is so incredibly important to us, right? Now, to the outside world, how can you objectively say that Saavn is a leader in the market, right? You have to kind of pull data points from people in the ecosystem. So if you talk to the record labels, right, they say that we stream 5 times more every month than the number 2 player, right? When you look at the listening time that we have, we're over 44 minutes per session, which is 2 or 3x other players in the marketplace, right? The growth is very strong, where we're getting over 100,000 downloads every day, mostly through organic means, but there's some paid marketing and other partnerships that we do that are also contributing to that.
So what is your current monetization strategy? How do you plan to further engage with your consumers?
There's 2 major revenue streams for us. One is advertising and the second is paid subscription, right? So let me break both of those down. On the advertising side, we first started by putting just simple display ads on the Saavn app. And we'd only work with one brand every day, give them 100% share of voice. That went well for a while. We had great brands come on board, but when you only work with one brand every day, you have 30 days of inventory, right? And that's it. But the bigger point was that 94% of our users on a mobile device, when they're listening to music on Saavn, they've got headphones in, they're actually looking at the screen. And so in order for us to deliver sustainable value to our brand advertisers, we needed to kind of tweak the model a bit, because the click-through rates, if that is a benchmark of how effective an advertising campaign is, were very bad. So we came up with a new model, which is a hybrid of audio and display. And while nobody's coming to a Saavn app to buy a new car or buy toothpaste, when those messages are delivered to them, targeted based on devices or operators or gender, geo, age, and even time of day, the receptivity of those messages are much greater, right? And so the average click-through that we see across Saavn, across 150 brands that include Apple, Audi, Airtel, Samsung, Lenovo, and a bunch of others, is about 5%, right? So we're really ecstatic about the results that we're seeing, and we're starting to see the revenue scale quite nicely. Now, on the paid side, there's a very big misconception, I'll say, that users in India, people in India don't pay, right? Which I actually agree, they don't pay for individual pieces of content. And so we came up with a model for 99 rupees a month. You have unlimited downloads that you bring onto your device. All the ads are removed, and there's a higher quality audio file that's given to the user. And out of the 18 million users that we have, it's over 1.4 million people that are on free trial or paying, right? Now the biggest issue that we had, from a month ago and previously, was that more than 80% of the people who actually wanted to pay couldn't do it. With our integration with Paytm and other wallets, as of a month ago, we're starting to see a dramatic change, right? Where people are indeed paying, but they're not paying for content. They're paying for access to content.
You know, you recently raised your Series C round of funding. Where have you spent that, and are you looking to raise more funds?
You know, the round of capital that we raised is really going to be deployed in the following areas. So, like I said, we're a very product-focused company, and so we're going to continue to invest in core products. Probably one of the number one priorities that the company has is to recruit more engineering talent or acquire it, right? The second piece really comes down to content, right? And so we work, you know, with pretty much all of the record labels, pan-India and other markets. We're also going to earmark some funds for original content, things outside of music, things that may be in a sports or comedy type of area. Nothing's been announced just yet. It's just some internal discussions that are happening right now, but we're pretty excited about, you know, content beyond just music, and that's the nature of what we're doing here with Audio On, is just really kind of igniting that discussion, right?
And how soon can we expect these plans to roll out?
2016.
Are there any unexplored frontiers for the digital music and the content business that remains to be tested for India for its revenue and operational worthiness?
Yeah, so you know, every day we get tens, if not hundreds, of emails that are coming in from individuals who want to get their content live on Saavn, right? And it's very complex because it's rights, you know, that are involved, and you know, curation, editorial support that's required. So that's an active discussion that's going on internally. What do we do with that? As much as the record label industry takes a lot of risks with artists, they also have to manage the risks. They can't just go and sign everybody, right? And so if we do take independent artists, do bring them live on Saavn, and we do see some kind of traction, at least there's some data that's there that we can take to the labels where these people can actually have a career in the music industry. So that's all, that's just an internal discussion.
You know, when we last spoke, you told us about entering into the video content space by 2016. How is that plan going so far?
Yeah, so there's active discussions going on about video too as well. We think there's a lot more work to do in audio before we can really, you know, really focus on video. We have rights for music videos and movies, and I think the most basic offering would be things around that type of content as well. And it's kind of a logical extension, right? If you're listening to a particular, you know, song, to be able to get one-click access to a video, right, a music video, or the movie in which that song is in, makes intuitive sense for the end user, right? But we think it may be a little bit deeper than that.
So what about the vernacular medium? How are you looking to address them? Are you planning to localize your content?
That is going to be a very big focus area in 2016 and into 2017 of how we go, you know, well beyond that user base. It's absolutely something, you know, very important to us, and you know, as we further understand user behavior in those markets, we'll tweak our application appropriately so everybody can enjoy it. So
what new notes are you planning to add to your musical journey? What are the near-term future plans?
So the growth, I think, will eclipse 25 million users by the end of the year. And there's various partnerships that we have in the pipeline with some of the global internet majors on how we'll continue to go and drive growth, right? There's also certain features that we're rolling out that we think a byproduct of them will actually lead to organic growth, right? Where by virtue of people actually using the Saavn application, it leads to more people discovering it, right? Either at the app level or at an individual song or content level. On the ground, we're talking to various players about that co-creation of content, right? And that can exist in really three ways. One way is, you know, direct content creation that we make available on Saavn in kind of a serial type of format. It could also happen with brands where, you know, they're actually included in some of this content. In other cases, it's kind of not necessarily advertiser-sponsored programming, but it's programming made with an advertiser in mind, right? Already in place. So we haven't, you know, actually embarked on that and taking anything live just yet. It's kind of still at the formative stages.
Vinodh, here's wishing you and Saavn all the very best. It is now time for us to take a break, but when we return, we meet Anirudh Suri, who's bridging the online and offline shopping experience with his venture, Findable.